Speaking of today,
Mhm.
and where you are today, what would be some like key words that you would say as far as how you show up for your world?
Mm. Radical responsibility,
I love that.
authenticity, a hot mess is okay. Like recognizing it's okay to be a hot mess. Um,
I love that you said that.
yeah, like again, if you want to be this amazing, all the great things, the manifester and have all and do all, well, you sometimes are going to be a hot mess and it's okay to roll out of bed and show yourself, like I'm not that like Instagram ready all the time.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not real. That's not real. And
Yeah.
so it's important for me. Like authenticity is like a huge thing. And just again, divine alignment, transform through self devotion, divine alignment, radical responsibility and authenticity and doing the work, whatever that means. Like the inner work is so
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
100%. 100%. I know I just said that I love that, but I love that you said that because, a lot of times, even as coaches, there's this stigma. A lot of times I see it everywhere
Mm-hmm.
where you're supposed to know all the answers and do all the things correct.
Mm-hmm.
And there can be a feeling of unworthiness or um, uh, what's the syndrome called? Imposter
Imposter
syndrome.
syndrome. I was just
That
gonna say, oh, I forgot to mention all that. Like it does.
yeah, and that hits you really hard because you're looking around and you're like, wow, am I the only one that's a hot mess sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
So I love that the authenticity that you have in the real world, and that it hits all of us.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what anybody is saying, and at different levels and at different times and for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, because it's like we're so unique in our journey, in our soul's mission. Like I think that's kind of the most important part is to recognize like my soul chose this journey, right? And I can connect to my soul and where I'm supposed to be on this journey at any moment in time. That's manifestation as well, right? And trusting because yeah, the imposter syndrome comes up and perfectionism. I mean, I think because of all those things that happened as a child, I don't know why I didn't mention any of this, but like I was severely racked by perfectionism. Like in,
Wow.
in second grade, I was at the nurse's office every single day because I was like anxiety ridden basically.
Wow.
And had the digestive things that later were figured out to be a whole other thing. But like it was crazy that it was that severe when I was that young and
Yeah.
that I, again, thankfully dance ended up being the thing that took me out of all that. But like, even in dance, imposter syndrome, like, oh, all these girls are so good at this. And I consistently was like stepping up and upgrading into the next thing, but I was always kind of the youngest in the class. And so I always felt like, oh, like maybe I'm not good enough to be here. And, that definitely had continued into adulthood and continues on a, not a daily basis, but like it comes up where it's like, oh, am I doing this right? Are people going to think that I'm and da 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 da? And I have to just be like, go back to your breath, come back to the present moment, come back to your soul, come back to your alignment. You don't need to be any of those things.
Yeah.
You need to show up as uniquely you because the world needs your light, right? So I see your question pop up there. How do you show up for your world? Like you show up as yourself, as your radically honest self and your authenticity because you can't be the person next to you, right? Like you can
Yeah.
cut your hair and dye your hair and wear different colored eye contacts and do all the things to like become an imposter basically, or
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
just show up as yourself and know that there is a tribe of people out there who are meant to be with you on this journey and that you are the only person who can say the thing to touch them, right? It's
Yeah.
going to come from you. And that they are going to be the only people who can say the thing that inspires the next generation or the next round of people. And so to not feel like you're ever in competition with anyone because we're not. We're here to co-create. We're doing this together. And
Yeah.
so the more that we can tap into that magic and how we show up for our world, like just show up authentically, show up in the way that your angels, guides, ancestors, etc., any source, your highest self nudges you to show up that day, that's how you show up, right? So today I was told to put on some mascara and wear these earrings and show up here with you, and that feels good, that feels right, you know. And if for some reason things were wildly awry, I would have had to call you and say, Sabrina, I'm so sorry, but can we reschedule? Because that would have been authentic for me that day. So
100%.
just listening, I think, is so important to our truth.
100%. Yes. I have so many stories to relate to that, but I'm going to keep it at that because you did a brilliant job of
Mm.
explaining that. I want to ask, what do you have going on? What's going on in the next 2 to 5 years? What do you have planned? I know
That's a long way out.
it is. It
Um,
is.
oh gosh. I mean, my mantra is let the universe blow my mind.
Okay.
So as
I
so
love that.
anything I'm about to say will probably be upgraded times I couldn't even imagine. Um, that's huge. And it's funny because that was my question back in the day with my clients. That was my first question for them. What's your 3 to 5 year plan, right? Like,
Yeah.
where do you want to see yourself so that we can get you organized and get this space ready for it? And now I have trouble thinking beyond tomorrow. Because
That's authentic to you.
exactly, I'm just so present in this moment and what, like, really let the universe blow my mind. Let the universe show me what I'm supposed to do today. Because the more I do that, the more, like, I'll tell you a little story here. My little stories might be like 5 minutes long, but basically, when I was, back in 2020 and I'm struggling, I'm in that space of struggling. I'm just starting to climb out of that. I'm just getting involved in cryptocurrency. I'm just starting to, like, actually, I wasn't even involved in cryptocurrency yet. I was struggling, and the I was working with a business online that was still kind of that CBD health and wellness, and but that was kind of being shut down in my ability to still be participating because of the fact that I was here in Costa Rica and the world was shut down. So I was praying to the universe to show me the next way, and I kept having this feeling of the great expanse, the great expanse, the great expanse. I didn't know what that meant, but I got a phone call from someone who was like, "Oh, I have a house. Are you interested in moving into this space?" And I was like, "Well, I kind of am living in a great space right now. I'm comfortable. We can walk everywhere. I didn't have a car. Like, I was, again, financially pretty, pretty much struggling." Um, but she sent me a video, and my son and I had been drawing our dream house. Like, we lived in this great house, but there were a lot of improvements that could have been made. And so we were planning to talk to the landlord about, like, can we make some of these improvements and, repairs and things of that nature. And as I was drawing what we wanted to do in that house, I wasn't fully aware, but I was manifesting that. And so this woman sends me a video walkthrough of her house and her property. And it is literally the picture I have drawn down to,
No.
I have this whole thing about being the divine hive and, like, the queen bee, because I'm been surrounded by bees. They send me messages. They take me on these journeys. Like, I'm really connected to the bees. And so I really had stepped into that at that point. And the house we were living in, we were there because when we came to see it, they, like, had painted the floors to look like honey. Like, they painted the concrete, this, like, weird gold honey sort of thing. There were bees painted on the walls. It was, like, really whimsical and, like, very Jungle Book. My son fell in love, and it was like, okay, the bees guided me here. And there were these hexagon windows. And so this whole thing about the bees had come, like, deep into my life. And so I had drawn the whole house on this hexagon grid with an arched entryway and the climbing tree. I've had this thing about, I love climbing. My son loves climbing, this climbing tree and all these things, day bed and rocking chairs and this great expanse. And wouldn't you know, like, literally everything on the list, down to hexagon floor tiles that I've never seen before anywhere in my whole life. Like, not those little weird ones, but, like, these big, huge, beautiful. They're almost, like, meant, like, to look like hardwoods, but, like, I don't even know. Arched doorway, French doors, arched French doorway, and a climbing ladder up to a loft that's made of natural wood trees, like trees that they've put in. Just blew my
Wow.
mind. Daybed, rock, like, all the things, all the things, all the things.
Wow.
So I forget what even the question was there, but I was like, oh, the plan. So
Yeah.
I just at that point was like, my friend who came with me, we went to go see the house, and my friend said, how will you afford this? Like, this is way out of your budget. And I was like, let the universe blow my mind. And the next day is when my friend introduced me to crypto, and I started just my whole abundance journey shifted financially to, I mean, it's like tenfold now of what I was before. Like it's
Wow.
easily tenfold to like 5 figures. Like, and it was the first time in my life that I've been able to make like 5 figure months, like on a consistent basis. And like, that's just my life now. And
Wow.
out of nowhere, like I could not have planned that, you know? And so like, when you're asking me, what's your 3 to 5 year plan? I'm like, I have no idea. Like, let the universe blow my mind. Like
That's
that's my
fantastic.
best answer.
That's fantastic. I will take that answer. I will take that answer. So we have women listening, obviously, and the idea of the podcast is to, share your challenges and inspire, women who are in tough times, who are in dark times, who feel hopeless right now,
Mhm.
um, and who are listening. And I want to ask you, what would you say to the woman right now listening who is just struggling mentally and emotionally, just outright hopeless?
Mm. I would first say I've been there, and I know what that feels like, and I know how scary that can be. And the piece that I want you to remember, as I speak to myself as well in all times, you are fucking magical. Every atom of your being shines bright with divine source energy. And the world these days wants us to believe that we are nothing, that we don't matter, that we should be living in fear, that everything around us is out to get us, when the exact opposite is true.
Yeah.
You are fucking magical. Every atom of your being is pure magic. And when you can breathe into that knowing and that trust, that the struggle that you're going through right now leads to your biggest wins, when you can truly believe and trust that the spectrum is a circle, that this struggle is just a part of that spiral, and you are about to come around to your biggest and best that you've had yet. It's kind of like that slingshot in a way, right? You're being pulled back into the darkness, and it is so scary and it is debilitating in some ways, but you have to let go in order for that slingshot to fire you forward.
Love
So,
that.
so whatever it is that you're holding on to, the story of struggle that you're holding on to, and I know I've been there. I was holding on so tight. It was my truth, right? But if you let go of that being your truth and you open your hands to receive, everything around you is conspiring to help you get to the bigger mission, to help you succeed on the bigger mission. So it's, for me, it's about letting go and recognizing yourself as the alchemist. Your breath alone is your magic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
That
much.
reminder for myself too.
Ah, so this has been wonderful.
Yeah.
I want to talk about where people can find you. Where are you online?
Well, I am these days still on social media, although I'm really trying to transition out of that just due to the nature of social media these days. But you can find me on Instagram as at Abundance Genie. So my handle is just Abundance Genie. And on Facebook, Nicole Gayatri, just as my name is written here. And I also have another page that's Nicole Gayatri Divine Alignment that has been a bit neglected. It right now my Instagram posts directly there, so you're getting the same thing. I don't really do much else on that page right now, but there's a lot of crossover. And then in Universal Abundance, you can find me in Universal Abundance on the portal there. It's this incredible space where you can view all these amazing, beautiful souls on the planet who are sharing their gifts in this portal. And it's just so beautiful, such a beautiful place to be in. So I'm there mostly. And then, of course, on my morning alignment activation calls, which happen on Zoom. And I can give you guys the link for that as well. But yeah, so many beautiful experiences happening every single morning as we drop into our own magic and align with source. And like, this whole call, I've been saying it, right? That's the magic, is to be there and to do that practice is so important. So that's definitely where you'll find me daily.
100%. Absolutely. Well, I am going to, after this, have you email me some of that stuff so I
Yeah.
can make sure that it's in the description for those of you that are watching or new to this or watching later on replay. The links to all of her stuff will be underneath each video. So you can click and connect whenever you feel the need for that. Is there any closing words you'd like to say before I close?
I think just recognizing you are magic. You are magic and you are divinely guided. And the more we each step into that, and trusting, knowing, surrendering in our sovereignty and in our true magical way of our truth. Like, that's the work that we need to do, not only for ourselves, but for the planet right now. So thank you.
100%. 100%. Thank you so much for joining us here on Her Version. If you have an amazing story to share, a struggle to triumph, be sure to reach out to me here or at herversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here with Nicole, sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire others. Have an amazing day. Much love.